Glad y'all made it.
Humanity is what we do best. I'm your master of ceremony tonight, Robert Taylor. I'm a teacher currently at Jeff Davis High School, former news reporter and announcer at 90.7 WVAS, and I must say that I am so happy to be here tonight. First of all, I want you to give yourselves a round of applause for looking so wonderful. You look absolutely wonderful tonight. And I didn't know what to say when Mrs. Seraaj asked me to come out and serve as master of ceremony. I immediately said, why yes, I'll be more than happy to come out. And he said, well, can you get your wife to come also? I said, well, I will try. And I did try, but she couldn't make it tonight. But I'm so happy to be here. One, because Mr. Seraaj, he didn't forget me. I met him years ago while I was doing my radio program. And I did an interview with him about Seraaj Family Homes, and I learned a lot about Seraaj Family Homes. And that was, I don't know how many years ago, and to receive a phone call from him, that told me right away that, hey, he didn't forget me, so I'm so happy to be here for that reason. Dr. Tania Stewart is the guest speaker. I teach intro theater at Jeff Davis, so I said, well, I can talk to Dr. Stewart tonight and maybe get a few pointers about acting. And then to get here and find out two of my students are here tonight, Lukman Seraaj and Tyler Gamble. I said, well, I better be on my best behavior because I will hear about this Monday. But I am so happy to be here tonight. We're going to start now and have the welcome by Janice Stafford.
Welcome. It's a privilege just to be able to say welcome to everyone at Seraaj Family Homes. Not too long ago, Seraaj Family Homes put out a newsletter, and it touched my heart because they had a picture of me on there as a pioneer, and I was very humbling to be a pioneer and being with Seraaj since the day that they started here. And one thing never changed from Mr. and Mrs. Seraaj is talking about quality. Quality in serving children. From the day that I met them to this very second that I'm standing up here, that has never changed. Should the truth be told, let it be said that perhaps one of the most beautiful characteristics of the history, future, and heart of Seraaj Family Homes is that our pages are saturated with an undisputable commitment to quality. Quality that represents our values and our vision. Quality that exemplifies the power and beauty of unity. If you don't believe me, look around in the room today. Unity. So now, I'd like to welcome you to celebrate the challenges that we face tomorrow, to celebrate the differences that makes moments like these worthwhile, and to help celebrate our pursuit of quality, working with children and families. Because remember, Seraaj Family Homes, serving humanity is what we do best. Thank you.
And now we will have the blessing of the food and invocation by Broderick Judge.
Everyone bow their head. Father, we want to thank you for having this opportunity to be gathered here together in unity and in peace and in love. We ask, God, that you will bless this evening, Father God, in a special way. Bless those who work so hard to put together. Bless all those, Father God, who work unconditionally and unselfishly, Father, in working with these children, Father God, to make their lives better. God's touch them in a special way. Father God, bless this food that we're about to receive. Bless our bodies. May it be nourished, and bless those who don't have food to receive. And we give you all the praise and glory for your blessings. We thank you, God, for where this company is going. We thank you, God, for where it's going to spread out and reach and touch new lives. In your name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is now served.
I used to hear my grandfather singing when I was a little girl, and I'm sure a lot of you all will recognize it. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows fall? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? When God is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches. I know He watches. I know He watches me. I sing because I'm free. For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches. I know He watches. I know He watches me. I know He watches me. I know He watches
It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Wife, mother of 3, professional actress, orator, singer, director of theater arts at Alabama State University, teacher, role model, and mentor to many students at ASU. Dr. Tania Stewart, a native of Greenwood, Mississippi, uprooted and moved to Montgomery, Alabama in 1990. She is best known for her recurring role as Aunt Etta Kitty in The Heat of the Night, and her most recent work in Mrs. Rosa Parks, a wonderful movie, by the way. Her other works include, but are not limited to, Mississippi Burning, Invasion of the Body Snatchers 3, Living Large, Matlock, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Dr. Stewart earned her doctorate in theater arts at Florida State, MA in theater arts at the University of California, BS in speech and theater at Jackson State University, and an honorary doctorate from Buena Vista University in Storm Lake, Iowa, and Jarvis Christian College in Hawkins, Texas. Dr. Stewart is truly a woman of many talents. The first African-American female to receive a fellowship from the National Endowment for the Humanities. She is a member of the Order of the Golden Circle, a life member of the NAACP, Zeta Phi Beta sorority, and a dedicated member of Hutchinson Baptist Church. We present to you tonight Dr. Tania Stewart, an extraordinary woman.
It's the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you so much. To our Chief Officer, Mr. Seraaj, members of the dais, and all of our friends here this evening, we've come tonight to congratulate those who are indeed in line because they've had their light to shine. Those who stepped up to the plate to give validation to our youth at a time when the world was ready to turn its back on them. We're here tonight because you did let your light shine. We're here because Seraaj is a home and a service to a people who are human beings, as Alice Walker wrote. We are a people. A people do not throw their geniuses away. It is our duty as artists and as witnesses for the future to collect them for the sake of our children. And if necessary, bone by bone. So bone by bone, we collect our children this evening. And since Seraaj has been in existence, our children are learning that they are somebody. They're learning the importance of holding their heads up, walking tall, and being what God made them to be. Recognizing their innate abilities, their talents, their God-given talents. Recognizing their limitations and having role models to show them that we too did indeed fall at some point in our lives. That we have not always been successful. That we didn't make A's on every test. Letting them know that we were not the perfect child. But because we're children now, and you have to go through the changes of life, you're going to fall down, and some people are going to try to push you down, and some folks are going to try to hold you down. But because of your own inner spirit and belief in yourself, you can always get up. We're here this evening to say to our children that we're grateful to those persons who stepped up to the plate. They told us by the way they work, like my father told me when he took me out on the field one day. He said, baby, I'm going to teach you how to play ball. And he said, now I want you to be ready to catch it, whichever way it comes. He said, now here comes one. Whoop, that's a fastball. So you got to stand firm for that. He said, all right, watch it now. Threw it around his back, that's a roundhouse. He said, you got to move for that. But whatever you do, child, keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye focused on the ball, on your goals, on your objectives, on your dreams and your beliefs. You know that there's a brighter day ahead. You know that things will get better. You know that this too will pass. No matter how hard times may seem, no more will be on your back than you can bear. No more will be on your conscience than you can bear. You've got to keep that belief within yourself. Now, I had an auntie to tell me, she said, baby, remember now you got a vault. All of us have a vault. I didn't understand it at the time. Because I understood a vault to be a place where you go to the bank, and you have a key, and they have a key, and nobody can go in the vault unless they both put the key in the lock. Then when you look at the computers, I look at that as a vault. You have a password, and if you don't put every punctuation in right, you might not get into your own computer. Your password has to be correct, what the computer remembers it to be. But the vault that we have, that we came in this earth with, is encased up here. Encased in a hard skull, made of some ivory that's not even determined yet. Unlockable only by you. Only by you. What you feel, what you believe. The only way the rest of the world will know it is when you open your mouth and tell it. You hold the key. So for you to dream, children, for you to believe, children, that a brighter day will come, that this too will pass, that this person in my life now is a vessel that has been placed there to connect me from where I stand to where I'm going to be. But now if you're sitting back there with that vault and you have no vision of where you're going to be. My grandmother told me, she said, baby, if you don't know where you're going, you're already there. You have no vision of where you want to go, you're already where you're going to go. But because of the Seraaj family, we have a chance to dream. We have a chance to hope. We have somebody backing us, somebody encouraging us, somebody standing with us, somebody knocking down doors for us. And therefore, we've got to keep ourselves together so we can walk through the door. Not bite the hand that feeds us. Not look back and talk back to people that's trying to give you love and patience and time and understanding. Not sassing your adults. Not taking your frustrations out on the people that's trying to help you today. But looking over and saying, oh, I'm so grateful. I can see things are looking better for me because this person is now in my life. And it all starts back to the Seraaj family homes. Don't be ashamed of Seraaj. That is a banner flag we need to wave. Would have been good if I had had Seraaj in my youth. My mother died when I was 16. And I had to pretend to my neighbors that my stepfather was at home really taking care of me. He was pretending too. He'd come in early in the morning from his girlfriend's house and walk out in his work suit and wave to the neighbors like he'd been there all night. And I was there scared to death many a night. But I learned to pray and to think positively and to determine that tomorrow is a new day and I will be here and I've got something to do and something to say. And then vessels, other personalities started walking into my life. The teacher at school, the counselor, elementary school teacher, her sight started getting bad and she needed someone to drive her back and forth to work because they called her back after retirement. And she started asking different teachers in the faculty lounge, I don't know how, but I can't keep bothering my teacher next door to come pick me up. I got a brand new car, but the doctor said I don't need to drive. It's dangerous for me to drive, and I need a student, a good student that I can rely on. All my friends had new cars. All my friends had a car. I didn't have a car. All I had was these good little feet to walk the miles to school. And one day they called me over by the faculty lounge and said, Miss Scales needs somebody to drive her. And they tell me you can drive, Tom. Yes, ma'am, I sure can. Well, we were just talking about it. And we think you're the one. You're always you're a good girl, you're obedient, you work hard all the time. And so I know you're in the plays and at night you have to catch rides with other people. Why don't you go over and talk to Miss Scales? And not only did Miss Scales allow me to drive her the first month and leave her car every evening and then walk on home, but after the first month, because I was so punctual, she said, baby, don't you, it's raining today. You just take the car on home with you and you be back here on time in the morning. And there I had a car from the last part of my junior year throughout my senior year of high school. The way is already made. Don't think that you're in this world alone. There's a reason for things that happen. It's not always for us to understand, but we should understand what's being taught us by those who are caring for us. When they tell us, boy, pull your britches up. Don't walk around with your britches all hanging down. All you're doing is polluting the air, sure as trying to be like the hip-hop singers, and all they're doing is getting an image, and they're making so much money because you're imitating them and buying their records that if you were walking in their front yard, a dog or a guard would be there to run you away. I love Michael Jackson. You can't even get up to the gate. Baby, lower that skirt you have on, that see-through blouse. That's not what you want to wear to school every day. You don't want to walk around like that. That tight, short, cut short, everything you got. My grandmother told me, she said, listen here. It's not what you show. It's what you hide that's important. It's not what you show. It's what you hide. I remember as a child looking at the Catholic nuns and the Muslim women, and I wondered what kind of hair they had under there. I wondered, did they have little skinny legs like that? It was what we couldn't tell. My little skinny legs, everybody could see me and laugh at them. But they walked around so gracious, so here, so there with the world. And it wasn't parading their body, the world. And it wasn't parading their body, showing everything they got. So when your parents tell you now, don't do these things, it's for a reason. And we want to thank you, parents, tonight for standing firm on what Seraaj says is quality. Thank you for teaching right from wrong and being there when the children need you, going to the schools when the teachers say something is wrong, walking with that child, holding them by the hand, letting them know you're not alone. And it's so beautiful that tonight we want to say thank you because we're certain the children are saying thank you. I know every child here has voiced, I love you and thank you. And I know you know how good that feels just to hear it. And I hope the children know how good it feels when you say it. You know, Margaret Walker wrote a poem, said, my grandmothers were strong. They followed plows and bent to toils. They moved through fields sowing seeds. They touched earth and grain grew. They were full of sturdiness and singing. My grandmothers were strong. My grandmothers were full of memories, with veins rolling roughly over quick hands. They had many clean words to say. My grandmothers were strong. Why am I not as they? That's the question many parents ask today, because we teach everything in America, but one thing that's not taught is how to be a good parent. So we can't condemn every parent that's made a mistake, while there's some of us that's just waiting to correct that mistake. We can't condemn every child who is a victim of their parents' mistake. But we surely can put our arms around the children, love them, teach them, guide them, like Margaret Walker said her grandmothers did. They didn't talk to them in profane language. They didn't tell them that they would never make it. If you think about my heritage, then you can see it had to be some kind of positive reinforcements there. When my great-grandfather was a slave, and all of my parents before that, my grandfathers and my grandfather's fathers, I went to Utah, to the genealogy library. I was filming Touched by an Angel, which is filmed in Utah. And I had a couple of days off. And when I found that the genealogy library was right up the street from my hotel, I said, ooh, let me go. Please tell me how to get there. It's always in walking distance. I walked to the genealogy library. I wanted so badly to learn more about my history. I've always wanted to know, since a little girl, where I came from. Am I from Ghana? Or Yoruba? Where am I from? I want to know, what is my African heritage? So I walked into the library, and I'm not very computer savvy, so the librarian there took me to one of the terminals, and he tried to explain to me how to operate it, and to look at this sonar, something you call it, and you roll these film, and then if you look over here, that's where the Mississippi files are, and if you look over here, that's where the Illinois files, and I mean there were just stacks, just floors of tapes of our heritage. And I looked, and I found name, the Harris name, I'm a Harris. And I found where they were in Mississippi. And then I kept on looking. And then I found where they were on the plantation in Yazoo City, Mississippi. I said, oh, if I keep looking back, I can find out where they came from there. And he says, I'm sorry, it stops there in Mississippi. He said, if you'll look closer now, that name, once it made it to this part of Mississippi, that 14-year-old boy became the name of the plantation owner. So it wasn't a Harris, it was a, I'm just going to say a big name like a Eisenhower or a Jefferson. It was somebody else. It was a plantation owner's name that my family name changed to. Then when they traded that boy off from there and he went to another plantation, he gained the last name of that person. And I wept. I became so traumatized because sitting next to me was a family who had heritage in Scotland or somewhere. And the lady said, oh my goodness, here it is. Oh honey, look. And they went down, that's Aunt Alice and that's it. And I'm sitting there saying, where? Where? And it wasn't there. And I told the man, I said, help me. I was so weak. I said, help me to the door. I mean, it hurt. It hurt. I made it to the door and I stood outside and I wept like a baby. I stood there trembling. after laughing at myself because I couldn't see any further into my own history. I felt so suspended in space, so unconnected. But still, there's something inside that has kept me going. Different people coming into my life that's kept me going. Different steps that kept me going a little higher. Just believing that I could. Just knowing that if you make one step, just trying to prepare myself, it's made a difference. And I stand here to give a testament to you that you will find that same difference if you just keep going, keeping your eye on the prize, keeping your focus on the ball, on your dream. Don't give up, children. That's a sad person that just gives up. My grandmother told me, now I have to tell you this, my grandmother, I think she was part Cherokee or something, because she didn't talk much, and I talk a lot. She had a bad habit of just speaking to me in parables. I could ask her something, I'll never forget. I said, Mama, SMA told our secret, and I'm supposed to be running for president of student government, and now everybody know our secret, and we promised, we locked fingers and said we'd never tell it. And she just looked at me and said, baby, termites live underground. And kept on eating her biscuits, K-N-A-D. I said, Mama, I'm talking about SMA. I done told you, girl, termites live underground. And she made me, she forced me to think. I stood there, and I knew better than to say anything more. So I walked out on the porch and tell her something. And later, maybe 5 or 6 years, in my biology class, they started talking about termites. And they said a termite eats at the foundation of something. And when you look at it, it looks like it's all together. But if you feel of it, you'll find that there's nothing there. So I learned that people can be termites too. Get all your business, pretend they're your friend, and the minute you try to stand up to do something, to be something, they'll let everybody know, pull the covers up and say, hey, look, there's nothing there. People can be termites too. Only thing happened was when we were in the 6th grade, we were making candy apples, and we were supposed to make so many candy apples and leave them there for the class so we could have them for the ball game. And I ate one, and I took one, and she ate one, took one too. And we promised, we locked fingers, we wouldn't tell anybody. And she told folk, I took all the 4 candy apples and tried to deflate my character. And the folks that she told, I said, so what? When I took class, I ate the candy apples too. Everybody gonna make all them candy apples and leave them up there just to split up. So it didn't do the harm that she meant for it to do, because she wanted to run. Another time I said, Mama, I won the science fair. One day I talk about it a lot. My science fair bracelets, all the medals I have just for science fair. I was a biology major when I went to college on a biology scholarship. So all during junior high and high school, I won the science fair. I had science fair bracelets with all the medals on it. And when I won the state science fair, the first time, I got back to school, my principal announced it on the intercom, and I got in the science class, was sitting in class, and when Mr. Hayes told everybody that Tommy won the state, nobody said anything. And I ran home to my grandma. Mama, I won. I won, and everybody cheered when I won at the science fair, but when I got back to school, they didn't cheer. She said, tall trees catch much wind. tall tree. Mama, I didn't do the tree sack. I'm talking about when I won the science fair for the state. Girl, I done told you, tall trees catch much wind. Now you can bend, but don't you break. She was saying, children, as you go on in life, sometimes you're going to outgrow your friends. Sometimes you're going to be recognized more for your God-given talent. Sometimes you're going to achieve a little more and be talked about and praised and pushed up to stand up before everybody. And like a tall tree, it's like these flowers here, one standing a little higher. So when the wind blows, it's going to hit that one first. There's no protection for it. So the wind that people will do to you is throw slinging arrows at you, bring up your background, talk about you, lie on you, tell falsehoods on your own family. Want to broadcast everything they can find up about you, but don't you let that make you break. You may bend and drop your head for a minute, but you don't break. You stand tall and be that tree. It's your day. It's your time to shine. Don't try to be down with everybody else when you're already up there. Just because you can play ball and you may become the Michael Jordan of tomorrow, because where you come from, hear me now, does not dictate where you will end up. Where you come from does not dictate where you will end up. Sometimes you have to come from level zero. Level zero is when you feel like you're at the bottom and there's no place else to go. If you think about it, it's a very powerful position. The time that you thought was the worst time in your life, that's the most powerful position you could have been in. Because now you got something to look forward to. Because when you're at the bottom, you can always look up. And if you think about it, 0 is the most powerful number in the numeric system. When you have 1 and you add 1, you just get 2. But if you have 1 and you add 0, you get 10. That's a mighty powerful number. Now you add another 0 and you got 100. And you add another 0, but you add 1, you just get 1 more. You got 1 and 1, you got 11. You got 1 and 0, you got 10. You put 1 and 1 together, you get 2. So when you're at level 0, you're ready to climb up. You've got somewhere to go. So when you come from wherever you've been in your life, whatever day was a dark day, you look forward to the brighter day. Because when you rise up as a tall tree, and folks don't try to remind you of where you've been, do like Tommy Stewart. Say, yeah, I was there, but look at me now. Yeah, I was there. I'm a child whose father beat her, so locked the door to the bathroom, police had to come, kick the door in. Because he was mad at my mother. I still love my father. Took care of him until the day he died. But I'm the child. And the records are in Greenwood, Mississippi. When they brought me out, the whelps were unbearable to watch. But look at me now. I'm the child who had a sister with running shoes that used to climb out the window to run to the police station to get them, to get back to our house to save my mother's life. And I was so young, she'd hide me, my sister, under our bed. She had some brown and white Sarah Oxford. She called them running shoes. Make it up to the police station. And folk used to say, they're them poor children now. And here we come. Walking, trying to hold our heads up. Look at me now. I'm not telling you what I read about. I'm telling you what I lived. I'm telling you that where you come from does not dictate where you will end up. Langston Hughes said, and he gave us a poem to pass on to you, because a lot of our generation won't tell our children the truth. Well, son, I tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal staff. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and roads torn up, places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners. And sometimes, child, going in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you sit down on them steps, 'cause you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, 'cause I'm still moving. I'm still climbing on, and life for me ain't been no crystal staff. Now you hold your head up. You walk like a man. Talk like a man. Be a man. Be who you were made to be. Don't squash your desires to create. If the law is calling you to be a lawyer, don't doubt yourself. I was told that if you have as much faith as a grain of mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, remove, and it shall be moved. You've got to believe that all of the power and the strength is in you. You've got the ability. What do you want to do? Is it ministry? What is your desire to do? Okay, what did I tell you a minute ago now? You can start thinking about it. You know. Claim it. Name it. It's left up to you. It's left up to you. Nobody's going to give you your dream. Nobody's going to make you achieve. It's left up to you. You got all your faculties. I went to a hospital my freshman year in college. My grandmother, her nerves went completely out. My mother died when I was 16. That was her only child. She couldn't bear it, losing her child. So they called me at Jackson State University, where I was in college, and said, you need to come home. Your grandmother has been put in a straitjacket. And I said, what? I started out. My professor said, wait. What is it? Tell us. I said, I got to go. And they talked to me, and they called back and forth, my aunties and everybody, and they wouldn't let me go. So I walked out of the dorm, and I just started walking. And I walked all the way up to the University Hospital. That's a long ways from Jackson State. It's about twice as far as we are here from Alabama State. And I was just walking and crying. My grandmama, I had to get there. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I wanted to get there. And I walked in this hospital. And before I knew it, I was going into rooms just looking at people. And there was a girl. I don't know whether they do it this way anymore, but she was in an iron lung. Those of you who are older, you know what I'm talking about. It was a big silver round machine like, and she's in there and she had polio. And the only thing out is your head and a mirror. And I walked past her and she said, hey. And that was the first person I can remember speaking to. I said, hey. She said, don't cry, I'm so sorry. What's wrong? I said, oh no. I'm just, where am I? And she said, you're at the hospital. And she said, where you come from? And I told her from the college. I said, oh my goodness. And we talked a little while, and I said, I got to get back. It's going to be dark soon. And she said, well, how did you get here? All the way from Jackson State. I laughed. I said, I walked. She said, you walked all the way? I said, yeah. And the tears began to fall down her cheek. She said, when you walk back, walk for me. Because she couldn't walk. I was feeling sorry for myself. I bet you I walked back and I knew where I was going then. And I say to you, while you're thinking about your situation, this problem, that problem, think about, know that it's always a problem. Everybody's got problems. And some are greater than yours. Problems are there for you to deal with. That's the reason we have night and day. The Lord wants you to see darkness and then see light. That's why you have negative and positive. Because it takes these two for the currency to flow. It's the same thing about life. The currency now from the negative to the positive is what has to flow through us to reach others. And I want to leave you with this. It's the story of my great-grandfather. My great-great-grandfather, Papa Dallas, has been my motivation all of these years. And in this room are your Papa Dallases, our honorees tonight. Papa Dallas lived to be 107 years old. He was blind, and he was a former slave. I now tell the story wherever I go, because I used to be the one whose job it was to take care of Papa Dallas. As a little child, I met a little girl today that reminded me so much of myself. She's 5 years old. She just speaks up so well, and she thinks. That's how I felt like I was. I must have been, for them to trust me to bring Papa Dallas out on the garret. Oh, y'all don't know what that is. The front porch in the Delta, we call it the garret. Okay? So I'd bring him out on the garret, sit him in his rocking chair, and I'd lead him back inside whenever he had to go, and then I'd go get his coffee or water, but I couldn't leave the front yard. I had to stay right there on the steps or on the garret with Papa Dallas. And he'd rock in his chair. He was so wise and so kind. People could come up the dirt road, and Papa Dallas could tell who was coming up the dirt road by their footsteps. He got so good at it that he started telling folk what they were going to become. T.B. Brown, one of my sister's friends, was coming up the dirt road, and Papa Dallas said, "Here come Preacher Man. How you doing today, Preacher Man? Ain't that T.B.?" And T.B. said, "Wait a minute, Papa Dallas. I told you the last time, I ain't gonna be no preacher man. It's T.B. all right, but I ain't gonna be no preacher man. I'm gonna be a baseball player." Papa Dallas said, preacher man, shows your bone, shows your bone. And just kept on rocking. In a few minutes, here come my friend SMA with her long braids just a-plocking, and she skipped up the road. He said, "Here come pretty gal, Essie. Is that Nurse SMA coming up the road?" SMA said, "No, Papa Dallas, I told you I ain't gonna be no nurse. I don't like to be around sick people, and I'm scared of blood." "That's all right, daughter. Nurse SMA, shows your bone, shows your bone." Kept right on rocking. I remember turning to Papa Dallas and said, "Papa Dallas, what happened to your eyes?" He said, "Oh, daughter, it's a long story. I don't like to talk about it much," but then he turned toward me and he said, "Maybe you's the one that needs to tell it to, because you's going to be a spokesperson one day." I said, "Oh, Papa Dallas, I don't even not know what that means." "That's all right, daughter. You'll know in due time. Show your bone, show your bone." He kept on rocking. Then he said, "Now look down there amongst my feet and see if you see a book down there." And I got down and I said, "I see the book, Papa Dallas. What that book say?" I got it up and I said, "It say," I remember I was so young, I couldn't read. So I tried to phonetically, we said phonetically today, but then we said sound it out. I tried to sound it out. I said, "It said B-I-B-B-O." He said, no, daughter, Bible. That very book you needs to study. You need to study that book. It'll teach you the difference between right and wrong. It'll teach you to love your enemy as yourself. Daughter, that book, that's a mighty powerful book. Got some of the best literature in it ever written. I said, all right, Papa Dallas. He said, but you see, daughter, that book, I always wanted to learn to read it. So when I was a lad, I wasn't much older than you is today, he said. I used to steal away under a big oak tree, and there I tried to learn my alphabets. But you know, in my day, daughter, us colored folks weren't allowed to learn to read and write. It was against the law. So the overseer, he caught me. And he drove me out on the plantation, and he called all the field hands, and he turned to them, and he said, I want this to be a lesson to all of you darkies. You ain't got no right to learn to read and write. It's against the law. And then, daughter, he whipped me. And he whooped me. And every time he'd click his hands together, I remember the cold chills running up and down my spine. He said, and then, as if that wasn't enough, he turned around and burned my eyes out. The tears began to form in my eyes. I said, I'm sorry, Papa Dallas. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Shh, hush up, daughter. I don't want you to cry for me. But I want you to promise me something. And I threw my little hand up in the air. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I promise. Promise me that from this day on, you're going to pick up every book you can, and you's going to read it from cover to cover, because ain't nobody going to beat you or burn your eyes out today to stop you from learning. I will. I'm going to pick up every book I can, and I'm going to read it from cover to cover. And promise me, yes, sir. Promise me that you's going to go all the way through school. I will, Papa Dallas. I'm going to go all the way through school. Because ain't nobody going to stop you today from getting the education. It's owed to you. Yes, sir. And then promise me one more thing. Promise me that you's going to tell all the children my story. I will. I'm going to tell all the children your story. Well, Papa Dallas, here I am. 2002, telling all the children your story. But I wonder if they understand the dynamics of your message. Because at the time, Papa Dallas, I didn't understand it. It hurt when I could understand at least where the ugly scars came from around your eyes. But I didn't understand what you were saying to me. And I pushed it back in my mind, and I never talked about it for years until the day I received my PhD degree. I was driving back by myself from Florida State University, car full of books, papers, and clothes. Proud. Oh, I did it. Doctor. All right, wait till they see me now. And a song came on the radio that brought Papa Dallas right back to me and took me zap to that garret. And I realized I hadn't done a thing. That all I was riding on the wings of his prayers and his dreams, and on the hopes of my elders. All I was the reality of where you come from does not dictate where you're going to end up. All I had done was just kept on going, not really becoming somebody so special, but just being prepared so that I could help somebody else. Not becoming the D that I am, and that I am that. Like some folk let their Mercedes and their Jaguars and their Lincolns divide who they are. And their white carpet on the floor turn their own kinfolk away. And that position they hold makes them more important than their own brother and sister. No, that's not what I achieved. And this song on the radio made me thank Papa Dallas for real, for teaching me, for taking the time, sitting there. He could have sat there and just gone back in his mind in his own world, but instead, he ministered to me. He talked to me. He planted seeds of hope in me. He patted me on my back when I fell down and dusted me off when he'd never seen me in my lifetime. He believed that I would one day be a spokesperson and planted that seed in me. So I'll share the song with you because the children that's sitting at the tables with you want to tell you, thank you. The Seraaj family want to say to you, because you've reached out and given the time and the love and the hope and the desire to so many. Thank you. Because you're the Papa Dallas in some child's life. It must have been cold there in the shadows to never have sunlight on your face, a beautiful face without a rain for so long. I never once heard you complain. Now I am the one with all the glory, but you were the one with all the strength. You were content to let me shine, but that's your way. You always walked a step behind. Oh, did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be, now I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. So parent, you are the wind beneath the wings of a many little hearts. Feel good about it and know that someone greater than all of us is watching. And your reward will be on the other side. And I'll leave you with the last point I'd like to remind you of, and that's the dash. When I go to the graveside to see Papa Dallas's tombstone, and I see others around it, I see born 1940, dash, died 1998. Born 1960, dash, died 2001. See Papa Dallas, it says born, and the dash there, it represents the hours. Everything about us, everything that we're doing today is wound up in the dash. Now, will your dash be like some of the dashes that we go and see today? A little thin line that's so faint you can't tell it's there? Or will it be like the one we put on Papa Dallas? Curved, broad strokes, little accent marks around it, for the many, many stories and the many, many years and the many, many tears and all the love that's taken me to this point. Today we want to reward you for your dash. It's the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, oh, let it shine. Let it shine. Thank you.
Our guest speaker again, Dr. Stewart.